for the power of one. Power of one. With Frederick, the power of one is a comprehensive approach to inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. The power of one. Continue to stay tuned. Turn up the power. Yeah. It's time for
the one and only
Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to the Power of One, a viable alternative to what appears to be a perpetual silly season which sits over a nation as a matter of course. The Power of One with yours truly seeks to energize you so that you can ultimately associate yourselves with right things and right itself.
Turn up the power.
Hey folks, it's me again, Eddie Frederick, a human resource development trainer and certified Caribbean trainer with over 30 years experience covering local, regional and US markets. Within recent times, I've embarked on a podcast series which is still evolving as I share regional news through Caribbean perspective and valuable motivational and self-development inspirational tidbits aimed at introducing you to a larger vision of who you really are as a person. I implore you to hit the like button and consider subscribing for some valuable insights to keep the right attitude and perspective during these times of crisis and challenge for so many of us. It was Saturday 22nd February 2020 that Grenadians awoke to the following breaking headlines, whether on radio, television, social media or just via the telephone and word of mouth. Remembering Sir Royston Hopkin. Sir Royston Hopkin, passing of a Caribbean tourism legend. Sir Royston Hopkin, KCMG, has died. Pioneer Caribbean hotelier Sir Royston Hopkin dies. The president of the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, CHTA, joined regional tourism industry stakeholders in mourning the passing of Sir Royston Hopkin, one of the Caribbean's most respected and accomplished hoteliers. Passing of Sir Royston Hopkin, a most unbelievable loss to the hotel and tourism sector in the Caribbean. Butch Stewart. This was a rather bitter pill of reality for all whose lives this man touched so meaningfully for them to be able to swallow. It was a truly sad day for an entire nation who benefited from the vision, wealth of knowledge and savvy of this homegrown regional tourism and hotel expert. Sir Royston Oliver Hopkin was an unofficial mentor and exemplar, an adopted uncle and godfather to many, whose birthdays he never forgot. He was a successful, charismatic, down-to-earth Grenadian who popularized his truth without blinking an eye, a man who has a penchant for excellence. He loved to let everyone know that he was a dropout from the Grenada Boys Secondary School, the GBSS, much to the cringing of several of his peers who would have completed but never rose to the occasion to become as successful as he had become. His was a fantastic story about commitment and focus, flavored with selflessness and service to the nation, while he fashioned his own brand of boutique resort, which stood out among the top 10 unique boutique resorts in the world. Sir Royston was a man who was totally unconventional in his approach to his lifelong career as a hotelier and tourism guru. His hard work won for his family total security to the point where they enjoyed the highest standard of living and quality of life that he could have afforded them all. He was a family man and therefore by extension a husband, a father, a brother, brother-in-law, uncle and cousin. Sir Royston was regarded as a patriarch of his family of over 200 employees at the world-famous Spice Island Beach Resort, in that he was their everything. He was a taskmaster who always wanted to see his vision not interfered with by mediocrity and substandard service delivery. He settled for nothing but the best, and when he thought delivery had plateaued, he would, with the help of his trusted general manager, Brian Hardy, tweak things to take a different angle to further squeeze the best for his guests, whom he regarded highly as his bosses and the bosses of all his staff members. According to Real Life Caribbean magazine, from high school dropout to Queen's honors, Sir Royston Hopkin, KCMG, has risen through the ranks to become one of the most respected leaders in the Caribbean tourism industry. Chairman and owner of Spice Island Beach Resort in Grenada, Sir Royston Hopkin was a man who upheld the highest of standards. His low-rise luxury hideaway, tucked among sea grapes and palm trees on world-famous GRENADIAN Beach, is one of the finest boutique resorts. The combination of regally appointed suites, superb facilities and impeccable service have earned it a host of awards and accolades, and features in several prestigious collections of international luxury hotels. The consummate host, Sir Royston, was a constant presence at the resort, sharing a joke here, a word of advice there, and inviting guests to regular cocktail parties at his home. At 75, he was always on duty. But as he said, when it's a passion, it's not work. The eldest of 7 siblings, the young Royston was raised in a hospitality environment. His parents ran the successful Ross Point Inn guest house at Belmont, and their children, several of whom went on to work in the hotel industry, grew up absorbing the subtleties of the business. Transforming what was the simple Spice Island Inn into the upscale destination it is today has been a labor of love, guided by Sir Royston's instinctive understanding of what visitors want and where tourism is headed. When a comment was made on the exceptional quality of the beds following a blissful night in the palatial Saffron Suite, a 14,000 square foot haven of elegance, complete with hot tub, wet bar, private patio, and direct beach access, he responded with a story. As a young man building my first home, he said, he had a choice. He could afford either to build 2 bedrooms and furnish them cheaply, or he could build 1 bedroom and equip it with the finest bed that money could buy. He built 1 bedroom. It is this approach, opting for the best quality he could afford, that has driven the development of his resort over the past 30 years. It is evident in every aspect, large and small, from the serene spa, state-of-the-art gym, children's center, and water sports facility, to the frette linen, molten brown toiletries, and Nespresso machines in every suite. Although awards are not the end game, receiving the coveted AAA 5-Diamond Award was a point of both pride and frustration for Sir Royston. Only 7 properties in the Caribbean have earned this distinction, and of these, Spice, as it's affectionately referred, is both the sole independently owned property and the only one that is Caribbean owned. Why should I be the only Caribbean man with a 5-star boutique resort? It's a travesty, he declared. And this is where the other aspect of Sir Royston's impressive over 50-year career has focused, on promoting and raising the standards of tourism, not only in Grenada, but throughout the region. Having left school at 17 with no interest in further education, Sir Royston spent a few years living the fast life, driving flashy cars, going to parties, entertaining, of course, the ladies. But by the age of 20, he realized he was a man out of control. The time had come to straighten out. He joined the family business, working his way up from the bottom. He also became a member of the JCs, a service organization mentoring young entrepreneurs. Their motto, "Serve with honor, not for honor," is one that Sir Royston embodied wholeheartedly. When the Grenada Tourist Board asked the JCs to send them a representative, the young Royston, being the only one with any knowledge of tourism, was put forward. At 20 years old, he became the youngest member of the tourist board back then. Not long after his father, one of the founding members of the Grenada Hotel Association, the GHA back then, asked his eldest son to represent him at a meeting. By age 24, he had been made president of that association. From there, his career went international, serving with the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, the Caribbean Tourism Organization, the Caribbean Alliance for Sustainable Tourism. Although these posts earned him multiple awards, not least of which was his CMG in 1994, elevated to a KCMG in 2004. All were honorary and therefore unpaid positions, often requiring extensive self-funded travel. I was not knighted for running Spice, he laughs. That just happens to be a nice hotel. I was knighted for services to tourism in my country and the wider region. In his keynote address at the Caribbean Hotel Hospitality Industry Exchange Forum in June of 2017, Sir Royston acknowledged these organizations not only as fora for building relationships with other industry leaders, but as universities without walls for the next generation of tourism professionals. This champion of the Grenadian people, Sir Royston supported local talent, from artists to tour guides through his resort operations, and set up a scholarship fund that continued to put scores of needy children through school. Every member of his staff is Grenadian. All receive ongoing training and development. Those that need it are put through their basic schooling, and the best are recognized and rewarded regularly. It's quite simple, he said. If you treat your staff well, they will treat your guests as number one. I have been fortunate to have done very well. The better I do, the more I give back, Sir Royston said. His success as a hotelier continued with his selfless service to the industry, having made Sir Royston Hopkin one of the most distinguished figures in Caribbean tourism. At home in Grenada, he was a local celebrity. Journeying around the island, it was clear, whenever his name was mentioned, that people from all walks of life held him in high esteem. Whether they worked for him, know him, or know of him, there was a sense that his countrymen are proud to count him amongst their own. As one local resident with no ties to the man or the hotel industry so aptly put it, Sir Royston's standards of excellence are something to which we can all aspire. The curtains were drawn on his life on Saturday, 22nd February 2020, but not before a wide audience could have had their say about his conquests, achievements, and countless accolades. Sir Royston shared his metaphoric riches with everyone he encountered. By riches I mean his generous spirit to give advice, counsel, charity by way of giving people in need whatever he thought would bring a smile to their faces and give them a bump in their living experience. He was rich in wisdom and elastic in discernment. I take it that you understand that he was not easily fooled, in other words. Sir Royston was a committed friend to anyone he considered friend material. Loyalty and commitment to his brothers from other mothers was never under question. And I am telling you this from personal first-hand experience. It was 6 years ago. Sir Royston laid the groundwork for succession by naming one of his two daughters, Janelle Hopkin, Miss J, as his deputy managing director. Upon his passing after a short illness and unsuccessful surgery in neighboring Trinidad and Tobago, the strong brand-focused leadership is left in the hands of the confident and competent general manager, Brian Hardy, with Miss J as president and managing director, together with her dear sister Nerissa Hopkin Duncan. Unfortunately, the coronavirus pandemic made its appearance shortly after Sir Royston's passing, and the wisdom of his successor, Janelle Hopkin, prevailed when she made the difficult, albeit correct, decision to close the resort and suspend operations until November 2020. A decision she had to revisit with a much-needed extension to November of 2021. Gordon Butch Stewart, the Caribbean's leading hotelier, who himself has since gone on to the great beyond, described the passing of Grenadian tourism icon Sir Royston Hopkin as, to quote him, deep, unbelievable and shocking loss to the regional tourism sector. Stewart described Sir Royston as the most extraordinary friend that someone could have. Indeed, he was my friend and brother, And I will never forget the many exciting overseas missions on which we embarked together for the glory of our beloved Caribbean home, said the obviously shaken Stewart. The Sandals organization, for our part, owes him a huge debt of gratitude for his vision in leading the charge to have our resort welcomed and recognized in Grenada. Even though we were his competitors of sorts, he had the ability to see the bigger picture, and so allowed the Sandals to establish itself as a very valuable partner in the growth and development of the Grenada tourism sector and economy. The president of the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, CHTA, joined regional tourism industry stakeholders in mourning the passing of Sir Royston Hopkin, one of the Caribbean's most respected and accomplished hoteliers. CHTA President Patricia Alfonso Das of Barbados remembered the Grenadian businessman as a giant of a man, a bright light that lit up a room. Not a man of half measure, but rather someone who believed that anything that was worth doing excellently. Alfonso Das, who first met the legendary Grenadian hotelier when she was starting out in the tourism sector, lauded him as the epitome of gracious hospitality, who infused me with a love for this industry that has never dimmed. The Barbados-based Caribbean Tourism Organization, CTO, said that Sir Royston, the only Caribbean hotelier to be ever knighted by the Queen of England, has had an extensive and distinguished career in the hospitality and tourism industry, spanning more than 55 years of contributions to his home country and the entire Caribbean. Sir Royston is one of the most decorated and honored hoteliers throughout the Caribbean, said the CTO in a statement. Sir Royston O. Hopkin, KCMG, has come, lived enthusiastically, and left his mark on our economic landscape, while changing the lives of all who were successful in gaining employment from his conquests. Today, Spice Island Beach Resort has shifted its focus from a one-man-owned entity to a totally family-owned resort, with Lady Hopkin, Betty, as chairman of its board of directors. A new chapter is about to be written as Spice forges a new path in its new normal atmosphere in the post-COVID-19 context. It is anticipated that under new leadership, flavored with the strong foundational values of Sir Royston, that Janelle Hopkin, Miss J, and her management team will take the resort to higher heights as they seek to honor his memory. May the soul of Sir Royston and all who have since departed this life rest in peace. Long live the memory of this great Grenadian, whose generosity we can never forget. Again, I implore you to hit the like button and consider subscribing for some valuable insights to keep the right attitude and perspective during these times of crisis and challenge for so many of us, and become enlightened through proper focus to your unlimited possibilities.
A power of one. With Frederick, the Power of One is a comprehensive approach to inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. The Power of One.
As I take my leave, I encourage you to find something you can be passionate about, because when you love what you do, you will never work a day in your life.
Here is where we wrap it up for today. The Power of One. The Power of One. Eddie Frederick. So long.